Hello, good afternoon everybody. It's another episode of ChutneyCam. Today, really exciting. We are at the head offices of the Pathway Group. Yes, we've all heard of Pathway to Grow. We've all heard of Chutney and Chat, Smarter Saturday, Coffee and Natter. Well, today we are at the head office talking about a different division of the business. Pathway to Grow, Pathway Group, and the apprenticeships that they do. So, with me today, I'm very honoured to have Saiqha Din. Saiqha Din runs the apprenticeship side at the Pathway Group. She very kindly volunteered to appear on ChutneyCam and just have a little discussion about apprentices and where apprenticeships are going in the future and basically what's happening in the whole industry. So, Saiqha.
Hello.
Hello. She was very nervous, so be gentle with her. But she's going to enlighten us and broaden our horizons about apprenticeships. So, Saiqha, who are you and what do you do?
Okay, well, I'm Saiqha, as you've introduced me. I am the learner recruitment and placement manager here, which basically means I recruit the learners for businesses.
Okay.
I match them to the employers. I do the whole vetting process to make life easier again for the employer.
Okay.
So the whole 360.
Okay. I think we'll go back a few steps. Define an apprentice. What is an apprentice?
Okay, an apprentice is a young person. There used to be an age limit on what age you can be to do an apprenticeship, but now it's as long as you're 16.
Yes.
Years plus, and you can be 100 years old if you want to. You can't be in full-time education or training.
Okay.
Okay, and you're going to want to do a qualification, so it replaces you from going to sixth form or college or university.
Okay.
So
an apprenticeship is in place of a degree?
Yeah, well, basically they can start on a level 2, so a learner would work in a work placement, but they're going to be learning on the job. So depending on their experience, what qualifications they have, they can start from anything from a level 2,
yes.
Progress onto a level 3, then there's level 5, which is a foundation degree level. So it is similar to going to university. The level 5 is a foundation degree level, so once they've completed that, they can go on to university as well. So
okay, but most parents
don't understand.
Like my parents, degree,
Yeah.
become a doctor, right? They kind of force or they have an expectancy for their children to go on to university and degree, and they seem to snub or kind of it's not or frown upon apprenticeships in terms of value as opposed to a degree. Where does apprenticeship and apprenticeship stand?
Well, if you look at it, they're getting a qualification.
Okay.
They actually
is that qualification equivalent
so a level
to a degree?
2 is equivalent to 5 GCSEs.
Okay.
Level 3 is 2 A levels, and level 5 there's some level 4 qualifications as well. But then the level 5 is a foundation degree level.
Okay.
So, and also because they're working, they're gaining the same experience. They'll work, they'll get experience, they get paid, and there's no university cost. So
okay.
it's a
Well, I suppose, yeah. I mean, I know many graduates who have degrees, but unable to find work because they don't have the experience, or they haven't got the people skills that are required in the workplace. Like, I'm an employer myself, and when I'm recruiting, I get some wonderful CVs come through and some wonderful candidates. But what they lack is initiative, and what they lack is the ability to work in a workplace environment. Simple things like using Microsoft Office in a work environment, or filing or stuff like that, which can only be taught on the job. So I suppose in that respect.
And also as a qualification, because the criteria is to have English, Maths, and ICT if you're doing a business admin qualification.
Okay.
So they get taught that.
Okay, cool. You mentioned they get paid.
Yep.
What do they get paid?
The government requires an employer to pay them £3.50 an hour at the moment. That's going up to £3.70. However, it's not limited to that. What we do encourage employers is to pay them a little bit more. That's just to retain them and actually to reward them for hard work as well.
Okay. And what's the minimum wage?
Minimum wage, as I said, is £3.50 at
No,
the moment.
age.
Oh, age. Age is 16 years and over. There's no maximum anymore.
Okay.
If they are 16, then the employer doesn't have to pay anything towards a qualification, and they're eligible for a employee incentive grant, and possibly, if they're from a Birmingham postcode, a Birmingham City Council grant as well.
Okay, cool. So,
However, if they're 19 plus,
yes.
then the government requires the employer to pay 10% towards a qualification.
Okay.
And that's normally split over like a monthly basis. So just say if qualifications were £2,500, so the employer contributions £250, and then we break it down.
Okay. So there's benefits here for both the employer and the learner. The employer, that they're getting a young, bright candidate, potentially who can stay on with them after the apprenticeship has finished and stay with them for quite a while. And the advantage for the learner is that they're getting on-the-job experience, on-the-job training, qualification, and they're getting paid for it, and they're working within a working environment
that they want to work in and they enjoy. And the typical example is I have worked with a couple of apprentices that started in 2014. There's at least 2 of them now that are on 20k plus salaries.
Wow. In 2014, so not bad.
In 3 years, so they've completed
That's
2 years.
more than I earn, actually. So, what would your message be out there to let's say our employers who are listening?
Employers would be give the young person a chance. I think it's a good idea. One, because they're quite young, and when they blossom, it's a lot of job satisfaction for the employer that they've trained them. This new young learner's turned into a completely different person. It's a lot cheaper than hiring at minimum wage, and you can mould them into the way you want to. So they're fresh, you train them how you want to, and it's quite successful businesses as well, because when they've started from scratch, they've learned every aspect of the job.
Yes.
So in 2 years, 3 years' time, they might be in a manager position anyway. So
Brilliant. And what would your message be out there to
learners,
or to parents?
Yeah,
right,
have an open mind. Don't think of it as something that you do if you don't get into college or university. It actually, the progress I see, and I have seen it over the years, is when you've met like a quiet, timid kind of learner, and then they've blossomed so much, and they're running offices, they're earning 20k plus salaries. And they really appreciate it, and a lot of them will contact you in a couple of years' time and say, thank you so much, you've helped me for what I'm doing today, and that's what we want.
Well, you know what, I'm a firm believer. I mean, your qualifications go a certain way, but your degree cannot give you initiative.
Yeah.
And being an employer myself, I'm always looking for people with initiative, people who don't need to be spoon fed.
Yeah.
And people who can work under pressure, who can act under pressure, and who have the instinct to problem solve and to deal with situations. Like if I'm not in the office and they're faced with a problem, are they going to wait for me to come back, or can they deal with it?
Get on with it, yeah.
Can they go? And I think for most employers, that's key.
Yeah.
Because if you can manage to find yourself staff who have that ability,
You've done the job. Yeah, the apprenticeships that we deliver at Pathways: business admin, customer service, hospitality, childcare, health and social care, and we do some IT. Also, we have a traineeship program for warehousing.
Okay.
Now, we have a cohort every 5 weeks. They do 4 weeks based in the classroom, so the health and safety and everything's covered. Then they go into a warehousing environment for another 4 weeks.
Okay.
Then they decide whether that's a career path they want. If they don't want to, they revert back to us, and we can give them other options as well.
Brilliant. So you've heard it straight from Saiqha's mouth. I won't say the horse's mouth. But apprenticeships are up and coming. Beneficial to employers and to learners. It gives you real live experience of the workplace. You earn a salary, you earn a qualification, and most importantly, you gain experiences which you won't gain in the classroom. Classroom can only teach you academics. If you want the real experience of life, you need to get out in the workplace. How many people do you know in your family who've got degrees, PhDs? I even know PhD graduates who can't get a job because they haven't got the experience. As an employer, if I had a candidate who's got a degree and has got no experience, and I had a candidate who hasn't got a degree but has the experience, who would I really opt for? Have I got the time to train somebody who hasn't got the relevant training? So these are all questions to ask yourself. So, Saiqha, thank you very much for your time. We're going to be doing a series of interviews at the Pathway Group with several members of the team. Saiqha today was very nervous, but I think she's done really well. Thank you very much. If you want to know about apprenticeships,
Our number is 0121 707 0550.
Alternatively, you can PM me. You can PM Kasim Chaudhry, you can PM Safraz Ali, you can PM Hiram Malik, you can PM Saiqha Din. There's so many of us. You can't miss us. So, think apprenticeships, think
Pathways.
Thank you.